This is filled with DIY builds in the great state of Texas. And tonight I am featuring a new project that I'm starting. This is going to be a build with a FM radio. This is the ammo box that I'm going to use, as you can see. It's going to have an FM radio built into it and an antenna, and it's also going to be Bluetooth. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to look really neat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you step by step in this project. This is the first video of many videos. It's going to take you step by step through this project to see what it takes to turn this plastic, seemingly regular ammo box into something really, really cool. And I think you're going to like it. So I tell you what, let's get started and see what parts we're going to need to build this build. So you can build this build with me, or you can sit back and relax and get yourself a tall glass of iced tea and enjoy the video. And let me know what you think in the comments below. And anyway, so let's get started and let's go through our parts list of what we're going to need to do this build. Okay, everyone, let's take a look at the parts you're going to need to do this build. And we're going to go over them step by step and follow along with me. And hopefully you'll like what you see. And we're going to see how this works out. I'm using a new filming technique. So, new camera. We're going to see how that works out. Alright, obviously the first thing you're going to need is an ammo box. So this is a plastic ammo box. I prefer the plastic over the metal. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using a metal box. They work great. They look great. The only thing is you do have to line them with Dynomat so they don't rattle, and also they are a pain to cut. But the plastic ones are quite easy to cut. You can use regular woodworking tools or metal cutting tools, but they cut very, very easily, and you can use standard hole saws on them. Now the box will accept a 5 1/4 inch speaker. On the sides we are going to have to do some trimming right here with a rotary saw to get the speaker to fit and trim the speaker, but we're going to cover that as we go along. And of course, here are the 5 1/4 inch speakers that we're going to use. These are the Boss Onyx 300 watt speakers, 4-way. They have a really great sound. They're very affordable speakers, and I really like using this particular speaker for these types of builds. Now, of course, I'm going to put a radio in this one. Now, I do have a Bluetooth amplifier. This is a 100 watt Bluetooth amplifier that's adjusted. And if you're going to use an amplifier with a radio, you need to make sure you have one that has an input, so you'll be able to plug in your radio to input the amp. And of course, here's the output for the speakers, and your power is there in the middle. And this is a 100 watt amplifier. And of course, we're going to be using this radio unit that has Bluetooth built into it as well, so you could use a regular amplifier if you'd like. I haven't used this particular radio yet. I have used radios before. This one is a FM only radio with Bluetooth, and I've heard really great things about this. It's also got a USB slot and a card reader slot, auxiliary input. Got all kinds of neat inputs on it, and I've heard good things about it. Comes with a really nice circuit board. Has a couple of wires here for power. It also has wires for the antenna hookup as well. It goes over here, and of course your output is over here. And I think it's going to be a nice little radio unit. And of course it does come with a remote control. Now, if you are going to use a radio with an amp, you need to get a ground loop Isolator. And what this does is when you have the radio and the amp on the same grounded circuit, sometimes you'll get what's called a ground loop, which is a lot of interference and noise comes through the speakers, and this will eliminate that noise. So you need to get you a ground loop oscillator. Again, everything here you can see was purchased at Amazon.com. Right here we have a voltmeter. Now, you don't have to put a voltage meter on there. I kind of like it because I like to be able to keep tabs on my battery and what's going on with that. And now the voltmeter itself is $8. But if you go ahead and spend $10, you can go ahead and get this bracket here that comes with a built-in USB port. And that way you can go ahead and charge your phone off the battery. Makes it for great emergency situations. and things like that. And it is a 12-volt system. Of course, we have a couple of switches. Now you can use any type of toggle switch that you like. I prefer the light up switches. It just kind of gives a little bit of a decoration. I'm going to be using red switches on this build because the colors on this build are going to be red, white, and blue. So I'm not going to have a lot of red on the build itself, so I'm using some red switches. Now, if you're going to use these type of speakers, they do tend to hang down just a little bit here on the bottom here, so I do use these rubber feet to elevate it a little bit, get it off the ground. And also it tends to make it a little more stable. These are about 1/2 inch rubber feet, and just use a regular drywall screw, put it in there, screw it into the bottom. It works fine. And of course you're going to have to be able to connect your radio to your amp somehow, so you're going to use this connector right here. It's a stereo connector. Now it's only got 3 pins. I know you're saying, well, hey, it's only got 3 pins. Well, it uses a left and a right, and it uses a common ground, which will work just fine. And this is going to plug into your amplifier, or actually it's going to plug into your oscillator, and then your oscillator is going to plug into the amp. So you need to get one of these little connectors right here as well. Now normally I would be using a lithium-ion battery, but I just happened to realize that I had this lead-acid battery laying around, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Now normally I don't use lead-acid batteries because they're heavy, and you do have to have a separate battery charger for them. Now if you buy the lithium-ion battery, they do come with a battery charger, which is pretty cool. If you buy a lead-acid battery, you have to use a separate charger. But I'm going to go ahead and use this one since I had it already. Didn't see a reason to buy another battery, but you can use whatever battery you choose. Now right here I have an optional port tube. Depending on the length of the tube, will change the frequency of the low tunes. And I haven't decided if I'm going to install it or not. I'm going to build it without it first to see how it sounds, see if the box needs to breathe. And if it doesn't need it, we're going to leave it out. So this is just going to be an option right here. Now I don't have the antenna in front of me, but I do have a regular car radio antenna. Actually, I take it back. It's a marine antenna, because with a plastic box you have to use a marine antenna that has a built-in ground. If you're using a metal box, you can use a regular car antenna. And to plug the radio into the antenna, because we only have wires, I have this little adapter right here, which is going to allow me to plug in a regular marine antenna and of course wire it straight to the radio. And of course this is going to be a Houston Texans themed build, so what we're going to plan on doing is I'm going to paint the box white, and we're going to go through that whole procedure because there is a coating on this plastic that you have to take off before you can paint it, or the paint will not stick to plastic. And we're going to paint the body white. The handle and the latches here are going to be a navy blue color, so white box, navy blue here, red switches, and I have some Houston Texans decals that we're going to put on this box. And it's going to look really cool. I think it'll look really neat right there. The Houston Texans, be kind of a football theme type radio, Bluetooth box, good for tailgating or what have you. And I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm doing this, I'm not promoting the Texans, I'm not selling Houston Texans boxes. What I'm doing is just showing you what you can do with your build, or if you decide you want me to build you one, we have different options that we can do, because I can make these any color of the rainbow that you like. So anyway, that's my first video of many in this project. So this is video 1 of this project. Now, I am going to do a side video and show you guys how I made this really awesome wire caddy that I built, and that's going to be one of my next videos that I do. I'm going to show you step by step on how to build this, and also in every step of this build I am going to talk about the tools that you are going to need to do this build, because it's not always easy to do that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Again, this is Phil with DIY Builds in the great state of Texas. And again, I'm going to try to upload a video at least every week, taking you, or probably even sooner than that, showing you step by step the building process of making this box. And hopefully in about 3 weeks we'll have this thing up and running. So until then, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. please do. That way you'll get a notification every time I put one of these videos out. And look forward to seeing you next time. Again, thanks for watching.